once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso.
Basel III. I think that this has been a topic on everybody's mind for a while, and I'm sure most of you have heard the news, but I kind of wanted to give it some time before, we went through an article together. So there's talks of the LBMA being exempt. Now, personally, I felt like there was a possibility one of the big players out there would try to get out of this. I'm not necessarily sure if they're truly out of the woods as of yet, but we'll see. And to be perfectly honest with you guys, I typically don't read through a whole article, and I've not read through this whole article, but I thought that it would be best to kind of break it down together. And if you just want to go ahead and give me your opinions on what's going on here, I would love to hear it. Obviously, the idea of an exemption sounds a little bit fishy to me. So on Friday, July 9th, headlines came out that the LBMA was exempt from the rules of Basel III. Like all headlines, however, there is always more to the story. Oh, well, thank you, Andrew. I would love to know how much more to this story there is. Now, I actually found out about this because I swear just minutes after the headlines were put out about this, John Adams actually sent me a text message. He said, "Hey, had you seen this?" And no, I hadn't seen it. It had only been a couple of minutes. I'm glad that he sent it to me. I got a chance to look over some things, but the moment I saw that, I was, I just knew that something fishy like this could come up. All right, so Andrew says here, first off, this is not an exemption as of yet. We'll see. It is a guideline statement produced from somewhere inside the Bank of England. Do we not get to know where that somewhere is? It goes on to say, and at no point in any document does it state that this has been ratified by the BIS. The timing of this is, at best, extremely questionable, having come out 2 weeks after the rest of the main players across the globe have had to comply with the new rules. So why is the LBMA kind of being a little funny about this, huh? I don't know. I would really love to hear some opinions on this. He says that we'll get to that side just a little bit later. So the large players involved here are JP Morgan, HSBC, ICBC, Standard Bank, and UBS, which claim to settle gold transactions with around $30 billion a day. So now, again, we'll just go over this once again. With Basel III, they're not supposed to. Now, I don't know if they'll fully follow the rules, guys. I don't know who's going to go in and verify this kind of stuff for us, but they are not supposed to be doing these gold transactions or, let's say, holding gold in paper form. If they want to continue to transact with this gold, it has got to be in physical form. Now, do I really think that all of these banks that we see here are truly going to do that through and through? I don't know. Personally, I don't know, but that's kind of the whole point of Basel III, right? We're making gold a legitimate asset. A legitimate asset, you would think, our opinions here is that you've got to hold it. You've got to hold the real thing. Paper isn't going to settle that, right? So, there could be some liquidity issues here. I guess that could be a concern. The document release specifically referenced metal in vaults. The LBMA has fought back against these rules for 10 years, as they tweeted, with their reasons stating that they are unnecessary and could force some banks, including clearing banks, to stop trading. They have also fought back, claiming it would reduce liquidity. So there it is. Yeah, they actually said it. They've also fought back, claiming it would reduce liquidity. Of course it would. It doesn't become funny money anymore, right? It doesn't become this funny asset. It's not a monopoly game anymore. It's the real thing. Now, apparently Andrew says he couldn't agree more to both of their arguments. It certainly would. The statement from Sakila Mirza, I don't know if I'm saying that right, the LBMA's chief counsel reads, "The Bank of England's Prudential Regulatory Authority, PRA, has decided to amend its approach to precious metals holdings related to deposit taking and clearing activities by introducing an independent precious metals permission, which would reduce the size of the required capital buffer." Wow. This is one of the key points that we've been asking for all these years. Clearing will be exempt. So JP Morgan and HSBC, the two banks with the largest short positions on both gold and silver, declined to comment. I'm sure they did. Honestly, I figured that the shady bank that would do something here would have been JP Morgan, but they're too in the spotlight, right? They've been in the spotlight for a long time for precious metals holders because they have actually been fined and been in trouble before for manipulating these prices. Now, again, if Basel III goes through, guys, I love it. It sounds great, but can we really hold these banks to what they're supposed to be doing? You know, when they get caught, when they get in trouble for something, it's typically a slap on the wrist for them. And who really pays for that? When these fines come up, they're not, I mean, yeah, they take a hit, but customers at the end of the day, we're paying off their mistakes. That's it. This goes on to say, so what does this mean for gold price in the short term? If we look at the movement in price on the futures market following the June 28th and the July 1st dates for Europe and US implementation of the NSFR respectively, there was no real change, and I think we all saw that. This is again why I don't try to get overly excited here on this channel. I do understand the potential of these precious metals, but we also need to be realistic, and we need to know who we're playing with, right? These big banks have done a lot of shady things since they've existed. A lot of shady things. And I think that holding their feet to the fire is good, but they've got a lot of friends, a lot of people that can protect them. You know, that old saying of friends in high places. There's a lot of protection around some of the manipulation that goes on here. I don't even know if most of us know just how deep this goes. Hopefully whatever John Adams is working on will give us a really good in-depth view of what's been happening. That's the best thing that we can hope for right now. I think that there is some potential there. He updates me pretty often on, you know, some things that are going on. So it's good to hear, to know that something big could be coming. But even if it did, even if you did your research and it was the best research and we're blowing open the doors on what's happening here for all to see, would anyone really care at the end of the day? And what happens to these big banks, the big bullion banks that are out there? Is it just another slap on the wrist, a couple million or maybe a couple $1 billion? No big deal for them. No big deal for them at all. Just understand who we're playing with, right? This is David and Goliath right here. When we look at the open this morning, gold was still trading above $1,800 an ounce. So these announcements have had little effect on the price point. Interesting. We must also question what this reduction in the required capital buffer is. Yeah. Does it refer to the 85% haircut valuation against unallocated gold? Or is there something else? I would go with something else, but I'm not sure. Could this mean the LBMA is awarded a higher classification of unallocated gold on balance sheets than any other country? That would be interesting. If fought, and I have no doubt it will be, how is this argument of favoritism going to hold water? Exactly. If they do this, every other bank will have this option as well. If they're able to get through with this, why would other banks not be allowed to do that? It's kind of just like delaying the inevitable at this point. Next, and more importantly, I can hardly see the rest of the world accepting this. Yeah, I would agree with that. Let's not forget the whole purpose of Basel III was to deleverage banks and stop the reckless balance sheet abuse that caused the financial collapse. Again, let's read that again. Basel III, the whole purpose of this was to deleverage banks and stop the reckless balance sheet abuse that caused the financial collapse. Gold, here's the deal. Here's the deal, especially for these clearing houses and clearing banks here, right? When clearing, you know, there's a lot of money being moved around. Maybe if there's that much money being moved around, it shouldn't rely on paper assets. That makes no sense. Gold should be difficult to be moved. It should be. It should not be so easy to clear billions of dollars worth of something literally in a day. That sounds a little reckless to me. I don't know, you know, maybe I'm just too small of a fish here. Seems pretty reckless. The LBMA deals almost exclusively in unallocated precious metals. Of course they deal exclusively in unallocated precious metals trading. Come on. This metal in the vaults nonsense isn't fooling anyone. No, are you fooled? I don't think anybody on this channel has been fooled by this. We know what's going on. Thanks to Wall Street Silver, a lot of other people now have an understanding of what's going on, right? So it's been widely stated, that Russia and China, who are both heavily interested in the physical metal, had put pressure on the BIS to implement these rules. Oh, so now we see where we're going here, right? Scotiabank already closed its doors because of these rules. There is too much compliance across the globe for a major hub to be given a lifeline without consequence. So how does this now play out? I would love to know how this plays out. I want to know everybody's opinions. Even if you think that it's a bit of a stretch, I want to hear about it. You know, I don't think at this point, with what we've seen, I don't think that any theory is too far of a stretch. So if you have an idea, or you think that you have an idea of what's going on, personally, I want to hear about it. Does the rest of the world accept the LBMA's current position? Highly doubtful. Does the rest of the world go full circle and go back to dealing in unallocated gold as assets on their balance sheets in a 2 fingers up at the BIS, similar to what the LBMA are claiming to do? I don't know. Again, highly doubtful, as that would abolish the entire Basel III deleveraging criteria. Not just gold. This is other tangible assets as well, and make a complete mockery of the last 10 years. Furthermore, these rules are needed to overhaul a totally over-leveraged and hanging by a credit thread banking sector. Why do you think that this is coming out just now? You know, most people, whenever they hear about Basel III or they hear about gold and some of these other tangible assets as well, I don't know if they fully understand how intertwined this system is. It only takes one domino to fall. One domino. And the whole thing comes down. The whole banking sector will feel it. There are many reasons to hold physical gold and silver. I agree with that, regardless of Basel III. Yes, I don't think that anybody should be buying gold or silver or any tangible assets just because of Basel III. There's so much more going on than just this Basel III deal, right? Be under no illusions here. This is an early indicator only, and not a full and final green light for the LBMA to claim that they are exempt. There are many reasons for the rest of the world to feel extremely aggravated at this, so I would suggest there is a long way to go before this is finalized. So at this point, we're likely just delaying the inevitable, I would say. You know, I can't really be positive about that, but I would say that we're just delaying the inevitable. It's gonna happen. Or let's say we just hit reverse on this and all other banks go back to almost what they've been doing the entire time. We're propping up this fake system. And without the full implementation of Basel III, that system will continue to be propped up. Now, does implementing this crash the entire system? No, I don't necessarily think that. I think that there's a lot of tricks up the sleeves of these banksters and what they can do. You know, revolving around the debt and the credit that's being given out there. There's other ways to settle these debts. But it makes it a little bit more difficult at this point, and at least you're not able to manipulate true hard assets, tangible assets, right? Go and manipulate something else all day long, but not these real tangible assets. That's it's just disgraceful, right? But then the other side of this, because I don't think full implementation of Basel III would crash everything. And I'm also not sure if it truly makes gold or silver soar, right? There is something good. Ooh, now I don't want to say it's good to move this paper gold and silver around, but at least it's heavily used, right? So there's always price action going on. There's a lot of volume moving around here to a degree. And if that went away, that could be kind of bad momentarily, I think. But Most of us, if you see a good dip in price or you find anything at this point that doesn't carry a heavy premium on it, you're snatching it up. Some of us have slowed down. Personally, I have slowed down just a little bit. Just financially, I'm not necessarily in a position to keep doing what I was doing before. So I can slow down a little bit. But I don't think it's a bad idea to continue to acquire precious metals, whether Basel III happens or not. Just my personal opinion. I definitely want to know what you guys think about this. What's going to happen if we actually let this exemption take place? Are we hitting reverse on everything? And on the other side of that, what do you think happens if Basel III goes through and, say maybe in a year or two after they delay everything, this is fully implemented? Where does that take us? I would love to know your opinion. Sorry it's been so long since I've gotten a video out, you guys. I'm not a robot. I am a real person. I've got things to do, been pretty busy, but hopefully we can get back to creating regular content. Hopefully so. I'm trying my best here. So thank you guys for watching. If you watched to this point, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.
If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up.